Right, so today is a special episode, and we have some special guests here with us. But before that, just a reminder, you can follow us at our Instagram page at Covenant Diaries. Again, it's at Covenant Diaries. And you can follow us for updates on our podcast release and where all the platforms where we would be launching our podcast. So you can follow up with all of the episodes and catch up with that. So, like we had mentioned in the last episode, and by the way, if you haven't watched it, please go ahead and do so. It's season one, episode one on all the podcast platforms. For today, we had mentioned previously that we would be inviting a couple pasta skits to share their experiences and their challenges, and hopefully, someone out there would be blessed and transformed by their testimonies and all of that. Without further ado, I would like to introduce my brothers. They're very special to me. Okay. And I'm so excited to have them on this particular episode. Just really briefly, I know you guys are going to have the opportunity to answer all the questions that we have for you, but just briefly tell us your name and just something excited.
The youngest one first.
Something exciting?
In no particular order, just your name and then something really
My
exciting.
name is Joel. I'm 21 and I'm in my last year of college, undergrad.
Woo!
Yeah.
Almost there. Almost there. Hi, Joel. And
Hi, my name is Jeremy, and I finished school recently, and I'm on a job hunt, basically.
Woot woot. And then finally, last but not the least.
Hi, my name is Jonathan. I am excited for this.
Yay! All right, here's going to be the deal. So today, guys, we're going to ask them a couple questions. But we're going to make it fun and interactive. And as always, we like to keep it 100% real on here. If you've watched the previous episodes, you would be able to vouch for that the realness is real. Okay, so we're gonna make it fun. They're gonna have to pick a number, and then we read out the questions that corresponds to that number, and they'll answer it and tell us their mind and how they feel about things and their challenges that they've been through and all of that. All right, you guys are ready? Who wants to go first?
What we pick? I'll go first. Go ahead, Drake. Okay, I'll go first.
So the first question is, how would you describe yourself and your experience growing up as a pastor's kid?
Okay, how would I describe myself? I would describe myself as, I guess, someone that likes to joke a lot. Likes to joke about a lot of stuff, even on the pulpit. When I call to speak, I make jokes on the pulpit. I like to see people laugh. Because sometimes in churches, like it's so like serious. Right? And,
True.
And I don't think that Christianity, your life, your relationship with God is supposed to be like that's not like
For real.
serious. Like laugh once in a while, like make jokes once in a while. You can't always be so like stern and cutthroat.
That's so true.
So
For
I
real.
like to bring that sort of a funny aspect.
Yes.
Yeah, a little airy, a little lightful type of atmosphere when I speak. So I enjoy to see people laugh. I like to have fun with people. I like going out with my friends and having I guess a strong community because I'm all about family.
Mm-hmm.
I love my family very much. I spend time with all my cousins and my mom, dad, brothers, and all that. I love my friends. I love my video games. So I take part in like community, a lot of community. Also, I like time by myself too. So I just like a balance between that. So I like to go out with my friends, like do whatever we do, like play volleyball, go out to eat, and then come back home, play video games or whatever like that. But I also like to be by myself.
Introvert in the building.
Yeah, so I don't know what that
Such a
is.
big
Like
introvert.
extrovert and introvert at the same time.
You're an introvert.
Huh?
You're definitely an
I
introvert.
definitely am.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I am. I would say
And
that. But
Joel
can you be both
disagrees.
or no?
Joel disagrees. Yeah, some people. I'm actually both an introvert and an extrovert. Well, when it comes to ministry, I'm actually an extrovert. People think that I'm out there, but mainly me, I like to be all by myself a lot of times because I feel like when I'm out there, I give out a lot of energy and I'm invested in
Yeah.
people, and I like to gain back that energy by
Mhm.
myself with God or doing something fun that I like to do all by myself. Like so,
Okay. But
I'm
I'm not
both.
like that. I like to be I like to be myself just a little bit, not too much. I like to have people around me. I guess I want to say I'm an introvert. Maybe half and
All
half,
by
maybe
myself.
60-40. I don't know, introvert. I was okay. I guess that answers the first question. Okay, experience growing up as a pastor's kid. Okay, we went to church every single service that we had in church. We would go because we had no choice. We're kids, like 2 years old, 3 years old. You can't say no. They just
Life
drag
of a
you.
pastor's
Yeah.
kids, right?
So like Wednesday night service, prayer meeting. Tuesday night, Wednesday night prayer. On Friday, youth service. Saturday, I don't know, men's meeting or what. I don't remember that when I was younger, but every single time that we would go to church, we would. My parents go to church, we would be dragged along. We don't really have much say, and stuff, right? Maybe you're tired, you have no say. You're still going to church.
It is true.
So
I think all
yeah,
pastor's kid out there listening
even
to
you
this
guys
would
too.
relate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guys.
It's the reality
The only
for
time
real.
that I really missed Sunday service was because I would have migraines when I was little, so and they like I couldn't I was sensitive to light, so I couldn't really be around like loud places and have a bunch of light. So when you're in church, there's music, obviously worship.
True.
Caribbean churches, they're not light on the music; they are
True
really
that.
loud, and then you have lights and all that stuff. So that was the only time that I really missed church was because I had grades on Sunday morning. But other than that, you go to church.
Yeah.
You go to church even if you have a cough or whatever. It's like you go
You
to
just
church.
go,
You go to
just do
church.
it.
Unless it's something that really, really hinders you, and you really can't.
Awesome.
Saying that. But I like going to. I didn't have a bad experience of that. I didn't mind going to church always. I liked the community that it provided. Young people at church that share the same beliefs and same I guess morals and that I uphold too. So
Yeah.
that was pretty good, and that's a good environment for kids. So I see why that parents want to have their kids in church because it's a community where beliefs with
Yeah.
other believers, especially at a young age because I guess when you're younger, you crave like I guess social interaction,
That is true.
and you want a sense of community. If you don't have a sense of community, you're gonna be lonely.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, you're gonna be lonely. So, I was glad to go to church. We had like Sunday school. We had a bunch of different activities for us. It wasn't like boring. I wasn't like always an adult service. They catered to the younger kids. So I
Yeah.
had a positive experience growing up with
That's
that.
good.
But also I was really shy. On going on stage. I had stage
Were
fright.
you? I don't
Yeah,
remember you being shy.
yeah. I was shy going on
Really?
stage, like speaking in front of like a crowd. So like youth service, if I was like called to speak, or I was young at the time, but now I'm fine. Um, it's on the school like poems or reading like the acrostic poems like like pastor like P's for whatever like that. I didn't want to go up on stage at all, so I would try to like lie my way out of it. I would like see I wasn't feeling well. I would hide in the church and try to miss it, and they would have to get other kids to take my spot last minute, and I did that for real. Like,
Wow.
yeah. But now I'm getting more comfortable on
Into
stage,
the
and into
limelight.
it.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good. I don't know if my
Awesome.
parents forcing me to go on stage was good for me, but I don't know. You guys are social workers. You guys know better than that. I think that's pretty
Awesome.
good.
That's exciting. A lot of people don't think that they don't know that pastors' kids also struggle with social anxiety. They think that, well, the fact that we're born into that environment where parents are out there, they think automatically that we're just born for that. You
Mm.
grow into it. You're not automatically, for that platform. You grow into it by God's grace. That was really interesting to know about you. Thank you.
Yeah. Can I say something else?
Yes.
Yeah, they expect like the speaking genetic. There's no speaking genetic to be passed on, right?
Thank you. People don't understand that. I think
It's
it's the
no genetic.
legacy that our parents have, and they think that we need to match up to that. But no, you grow. It's something that you grow
It's not
into.
inherited, right? it's
No,
something that
it's
you
not
grow,
genetically. Well, it could be spiritually
inherit.
transferred.
Yeah, transferred.
Yes.
That was a better word. Yeah, transferred.
Influenced by impartation.
I guess inherited is like direct. Transfer is like a a process. I think of like
And influence
a
through
bar.
mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm done now. Cheers.
All right, Joel, tell us about yourself. He picked the question, so you guys want to answer that?
Ah, okay. Myself.
Yes, sir.
Well, I would say I'm introverted, honestly.
We know.
Okay. For those that don't know.
Okay.
To myself. I really like my alone time. I don't mind going out, but I value my alone time for myself. I can literally be by myself, just doing whatever, and I'm alright with that.
Mhm.
But I'm besides that myself. I still value people, and I like to be around people that are close to me.
That's
Um,
nice.
it's personally for me, it's a lot to off rip, I guess, connect with people. You know, I I value people who are like truly that I've built a relationship over like a long period of time, and I know they're solid people. But I mean, besides that, what else do I like to do? I'm still young. I'm in school. I'm actually coming down to the end of my school, which is crazy because I feel like I've been in it forever, which I have, and it's like a new transition for me now because I'm be in the workforce soon. But that's something else.
Awesome.
Uh, yeah, that's all I'll say for now for that part. And then
Your
my
experience?
experience as a PK.
Yes.
Oh yeah, obviously the common ground is that we got to go to every service, every event. All right, that's just
It's
what it
very
is.
relatable. I think
Yeah,
that's a generalized
yeah.
experience for every
So
pastor's kid.
Jeremy explained that in depth,
Mhm.
But the experience is not bad. I mean, me personally, I don't really remember it too much. I just know that church is a part of your lifestyle. Like it's not that it's like in your routine, I would say.
Mhm.
And I know that's not the deal for a lot of people, but for as a PK, it's part of your routine. Like you gotta
You
go.
got to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta go. But it's from obviously when you're a kid you're forced, but as of right now it's more of a pleasure going and to be
Mhm.
in the ministry and
It's true.
to do it out of the goodness of your heart.
Mm.
But yeah, I think it's really more positive because it's instilled a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things from church, honestly, and like a little insight. I wrote my college essay about like how church has helped me more than
Wow.
spiritually, but it taught me worlds.
Mm.
Um,
It's true.
yeah. So I mean, you guys brought up public speaking.
Mhm.
That's something that I've learned to do. And when you're in church, especially as a PK, I mean, the fact that you're always there shows your like consistency, so people know that
Mhm.
they can tap on you to do
Very
something.
important.
So you have chances to be on stage and to speak in front of people. So obviously, at first, it's nerve wracking, and
Tell me
and
about it.
and it's you, but because you have so many chances to do it, it becomes easier.
Mm.
So
It's
yeah,
terrible, Jerry.
and I just wanted to go back to what you guys were saying before, how people think you automatically have that you're natural on stage. No,
Mm-mm.
you're not.
No.
People are like, because we're part of the youth ministry, and then people are like, when we ask people like their fears, public speaking is obviously one of them. And
Mm.
then they'll be like, okay, obviously for you it's not because you're pastor's kid, like you already know how to do it. I'm like, no.
Wow.
I had to learn how to do it.
That's
Obviously,
the assumption they have about us. Yeah.
yes, yeah, they really think that. Like kids still say it to me, and I'm like, no. I was in your shoes too. Like I was scared to do it.
That is true.
I was scared to do it, but that's what I'm saying. That's one of those skills that I've learned from church is public speaking, amongst others. So that's some of my experiences at PK.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. And the big guy.
Yeah, I'm the big guy. Um, well, first I got to say it's pretty refreshing to listen to Jeremy and Joel talk about their experiences. Um, and now both of them are youth leaders in our ministry at Liberty. So that's pretty
Mhm.
cool. But some stuff about myself, I think I am introvert and
Really?
extrovert.
Literally, the face card tells otherwise. Look at your
Depending on which environment I'm
Oh
in,
my gosh,
I
that's so
think I
funny.
adapt to my environments. I think so. Um, I'm adaptavert.
Adaptavert. You guys, that's a new word.
Adaptavert. Yeah, I mean, I like to crack jokes. I think we're from a family that loves to have a lot of
That is
jokes,
true.
not to be too serious. We're serious when we need to be, but
True.
even in those moments, we still crack jokes, which is probably not the best sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of people wouldn't understand that, but for us, it's just our way of dealing with anxiety, right? The awkward moment, we just like, gonna jump in.
That's so true. So yeah, I like to have a good time, and my experience being a PK or growing up in church, very similar to my brothers and a lot of other PKs. You're always in church by default. If it's either going to choir practice and you don't even sing, or going to youth service because you just have to go, and you're attending women's ministry because your mom is going, but you're a
Oh
male.
Lord.
It's just like you just have to be in church all the time. And I think Jeremy said it or someone said it that unless you're not feeling well and you have like a close to death experience, that's when you can miss church. Um, but I think growing up in that way, it definitely has instilled certain virtues and characteristics that when you
Mm,
did get older, like I'm 31 now,
that is
there are
true.
lessons that I have learned throughout the years that are like stuck within me.
Mm,
So even when I remember looking back at it, even when I tended to come off the path and backslide at times,
mhm,
these lessons I have learned has been deeply instilled into my spirit
mm,
that kind of brought me
awesome.
back or convicted me at certain times. So I definitely don't regret it. It's a fun journey. It's a fun thing. So that's pretty cool. And then just to piggyback off of what Joel and Jeremy said about uh, public speaking, I God knows I did disliked it. I did not like it. I
We all
remember
are.
it's like terrible. I remember being in school and like when the teachers would like call on you
For
randomly
presentation.
for
Oh my
presentations,
gosh.
I would
That's the
not want to go to school
worst.
those days. And
Relatable.
yeah, and being in church and like going up to the pulpit or just speaking in
We
front of
break out of it.
people, yeah, I really did not like that. But looking back at it to now, like to see myself having that fear growing up, but now, yes, sometimes I am fearful speaking in
Mhm.
front of crowds, but the Spirit of God really
That's
has
right.
ministered to me and definitely has made my weakness into a strength. So
Amen. For real.
that's something pretty cool that I've seen over time.
Awesome. That is so true. That is so true and relatable. For the next number, who's gonna pick the next number?
Joe.
He's already looking away. All right, Joel, pick a number.
All right, let's do.
Two, bro.
He
gets to choose whatever
Let
he
him
wants to
choose.
All right, let's do 4. Let's do 4.
Four is a good number. I like that number.
All right.
I'm in my seasons of four.
Okay.
All right. If you look at your ministry now, what part do you say reflect your parent and what part is different?
Okay. Can you explain that a little bit? Based off like, what do you mean by reflect your parent?
So what part of your ministry do you think you reflects your parent's style of, you know, ministry? If you look at your ministry right now, which part of it looks like what your parents are doing and which part of it is different? How is what you're doing right now for God different from what your parents are doing?
Okay.
Or are you doing exactly what they're doing or you're
Okay.
doing something different?
Okay. So I'm part of 2 ministries:
Mhm.
the youth ministry and the tech or media ministry.
Woot woot.
So, so literally in that aspect, Youth leader, I would say that's similar to what my parents are doing, just leadership in general.
Mm,
And then the tech is just completely different. That's like more behind the scenes.
yeah.
You're running things that people they don't really think of offer it like with
Yes.
leadership. But even though it does have leadership standards to that, but that's well we could say that the leadership you would say is more forefront, and then the tech of what I'm doing is also in the
And that
back.
part is
Yeah,
still a ministry too.
yeah,
It's
exactly,
quite
for sure.
can be frustrating sometimes, but
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
it, it
yeah.
really is.
Every ministry has their ups and downs, and but
Mm-hmm.
they still have their structure of there's still leaders in it,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's still things that you have to put forth. So I
That's
would just
true.
say in that aspect, the youth ministry would be more towards reflects what my parents do.
Mm-hmm.
The tech is just totally completely different
Yeah.
that you wouldn't think maybe that we would do, because we're in the background, not in the forefront.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's my answer to that.
Awesome.
What's wrong with you?
Okay, yeah, I'll go. So, if you look at my ministry now, it's not like one thing, but
A lot of things.
yeah, it's a few different things. Either if it's, as Joel said, like being in the production aspect of things, or in a leadership role. Um, no matter, I find that no matter in which part of ministry you're in, it's all about people. It's all
That's
about
true.
showing the love that Jesus has given you. You're
That's
reflecting that
right.
back off to them. So just having really good leadership characteristics, having patience,
Mm-hmm.
listening, self control,
Oh,
just like
it
listing
ain't
out a bunch of fruits of the
easy.
spirit. But like self control is a big one
It
in
ain't
That's
ministry.
true.
easy.
That's huge.
Self control. That's huge.
It's
Ah,
it's huge,
it would test you, man.
especially being a PK. It's like
Of course.
Woo.
you're looked at, I feel, differently
Mm,
sometimes. There's a higher expectation of you. So when you, let's say you mess up or you made a mistake or you
come
failed,
on.
it tends to hit you differently,
That's true.
and it's based on how you react to the situation.
Mm,
That's another thing you could be looked at or judged at, and the self control is a big thing.
yeah.
So I would just say that in being in leadership, it's I learned that it's all about people.
Mm,
People look at how you lead and how you lead them and how you serve, and for me, it just goes back to people, how you love on people,
awesome.
and that's something I see my parents do since forever.
Yeah.
Is taking people in, caring for them, putting the needs of others before themselves,
Word.
That's right.
Same.
um, and just having a heart of a servant.
True.
And people think when you're a servant, you're not a leader. I think you have to
Mm,
be a servant to become a leader. So that's something I've seen growing up, and I think uh, it reflects my parents and how they raised us, and the traits that I've seen. Loving
awesome.
others.
So, question four says, if you look at your ministry now, what part do you say reflect your parent? Okay, my ministry now, is that like saying what I'm a part of, or like what am I called to do, or it could be both?
Mm. All right, Jeremy with the deepness. It could be whichever.
Because Joel answered it
How?
as what he's a part of.
So, what would you like to?
I looked at it what I'm called to do,
Okay.
or think I'm called to do, at least. So if you look at your ministry now, all right. So I guess I would start like I'm a part of the youth ministry. I'm a part of the production, and I'm also a Sunday school teacher.
Mm.
So I guess what I my strength is, and what people is telling me my strength is, which I think is my ministry, is teaching.
Mm.
So I think because people were saying that how I am very analytical and I like to look in depth into different aspects of the Bible, so different stories. I would bring it to light in a way that I guess normal people, I guess other people wouldn't think of, or they
Mm.
would have problems breaking it down. So I would bring it to more like a simpler, a
Mm-hmm.
simplified version, so they could understand. My dad, he's educated, so he has a background, bachelor's degree and a master's degree. So I guess it falls under the category of being analytical in a way, because he likes to have these kind of seminars and and
Mm.
Facebook lives about analyzing the book of Revelation or analyzing the book of Genesis. So I guess that's where I got that from my dad. That
Mm.
reflects my dad in that type of way.
So that
Um,
rubbed off on you.
yeah, I would think so. And what part is different? I would say that I'm not a strong speaker like my dad.
I
Yeah,
don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think I'm as a
You
strong speaker
are
as
a
my
strong
dad.
speaker, maybe in your mind. You're like you don't see it.
I don't see it. I think I'm a poor speaker.
You're so humble.
I don't think I'm a good speaker at all. Um, and what part is yeah? I don't think I'm a strong speaker, and also different. I don't think my dad was a part of the production department because probably back in the day, well, most likely back in the day, like didn't have as much technology as we have now, so that's
True.
different. And my mom also, and I don't know if my parents were Sunday school teachers, so
So you
other
would
than that,
say more that as we grew into more of the society with demands and stuff in the society, your ministry kind of shifts in that dimension to
uh-huh.
accommodate the needs of the society and
Yeah,
stuff.
that answers the question. Good.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that would be everyone got their answers right. And for
There's right and wrong answers.
I don't think there's a right or
Yeah.
wrong
Okay.
answers,
Yes.
but it's just more of your
Mhm.
experience. It's all personalized to you. Awesome. Who would pick the next number?
Johnny, his last one.
Jonathan, I don't think you picked a number. Wow, Becky.
No, he hasn't picked any number yet.
Um,
So I think we did number 1, number 4. So we have other numbers. 2, 5, and 6.
I'll choose 5.
I'm sorry. Okay, what advice would you give other PK? I'm sorry, guys. We cruise a lot on here, like sibling stuff. So we sometimes go off tangent, but we're gonna try to be focused. Okay, all right. What advice would you give your to other pastors' kids out there? What would you say to them?
I would say that um, my advice to other pastors' kids. I mean, it's a lot, right? So, but the first thing that comes to mind is never to give up on your faith.
Hmm.
I understand the process. I understand what PKs go through, the good and the bad.
Mhm.
I understand and acknowledge the pressure that comes with it. But it should never detour you from having faith in Jesus. As a
Amen.
matter of fact, it should do the opposite. It should actually strengthen your
Come
faith
on.
in Jesus.
Amen.
And I feel like sometimes with PKs or just myself growing up, it's like this huge expectation of you need to do this or you need to do that. You need to fill these shoes. And you tend to lose track of the real reason on why you're there. You tend to lose track of your purpose and your call and your destiny
Yeah.
because you're trying to, I don't know, you're trying to do what other people want you to do.
We talked about
Yeah,
that.
that's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
I think that's a big thing with me growing up. I wanted to please everyone
To
Oh,
fit in.
tell me about it.
to fit in at a young age, like
Yeah.
13,
Yeah.
14. I wanted to,
That's a struggle.
It
A
is.
common struggle of a pastor's kid.
It is.
yeah. So just sticking strong and remembering that as a PK, as an individual, as a person, you have your own call and destiny
Mhm.
and purpose. And the only way for you to realize that or to find it is to spend time with the person who created you, which is Jesus,
Come on.
which is God.
Drop.
So, so I would say, as a PK, building your own faith because your parents' faith cannot get you to heaven.
That's right.
Hey, we talked
Flesh
about
and blood has
that.
not revealed it to your brother.
Yeah. So it's based on your own faith. And something that comes to mind is Mark 12:30.
Mm.
And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. This is the first commandment. And when I read that to break it down, it's loving God with all of your heart. This is your own desires. This is your
Mhm.
wants, right? So you're loving God with all of your desires. Your soul is all your emotions and everything of who you are. Your mind is your thoughts and how you think, and your strength is everything that you do, your physical activities throughout the day or whatever you're involved in. So to really love God in those aspects, which is the essence is who you truly are as a person,
Hmm.
that takes a lot of dedication and sacrifice to do that.
That's right.
And I find that PKs, we try to please everyone else,
That's
and we
true.
lose the mark of pleasing God.
Mm.
And my advice would just be spending time with Him, being in the presence of God. Um, and the more you are in the presence of God, the more you will find out who you truly are
Mm.
in Christ. So sticking to your faith.
That is true. Awesome.
Me?
Yes, sir. That's you.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, he covered every. No, I'm just kidding. He covered every basis. My advice would have to be. I mean, I like the point. Like, you get pushed. There's certain things that people push on you in the church.
Hmm.
Obviously, a certain standard. We touch on that. But and they try to make you someone that you're not, and I think that's something that you need to
Word.
work through and realize that as much as like you could say that these people are at church, they see you're in church all the time, they're in church all the time, they see you grow, and you think that they know who you are. But I mean, I'm talking from like me as a person that's still growing because I'm young and I'm still figuring it out. But we're all always growing and learning, no matter how old or young you are, and experiences come, and no matter how old you are, there's obstacles are always going to be in the way.
That's true.
So, and you're always figuring yourself out.
Mm.
Through the Holy Spirit, He'll reveal your heart to you,
Mm.
and you. It just goes back to your personal relationship with Christ. You can't listen to everything that everyone's pushing on you because
Mm.
there is a lot of pressure when you are a PK. And to be honest, sometimes I think it's just unnecessary because of how much it is pushed on you, or how like sometimes you don't even have to know that people say it to you. Like you don't even have to hear that people say it to you. You just know it. And then it's like that in itself, I got to reach a standard.
That's true.
But it comes to the end of the day that that's just so much anxiety and stress that you don't need it on yourself. And that's what the world is giving you, but Christ is giving you peace. He wants you. He says, "Come, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest."
That's right.
So it's figuring out for yourself and not letting anyone else push a standard on you. No matter how like great of a leader your parents would be, or however it is that you have to match that, you can do that in your own way. You're your own person. You're not the same person as your parents are.
That's right.
And it's not saying that you can't do it. You will, but you just gotta keep pushing forward and deepening your relationship with Christ, because he'll guide you at the end of the day. People have their own motives and they have their own stories they want to tell about you, but you just need to know self and spend that time with God by yourself. As much as the church is important, sometimes you get wrapped up in the work of it, but not at the personal relationship, especially as a PK, because you're there all the time and
Preach.
you could be part of the background of knowing how the church is growing and the work that goes into it, because a lot of work does go into it, and you can get wrapped up in that, and you don't see Christ in it all the time. You need to stay grounded in the word and in your faith, because the work gets into it, your pride gets into it, yourself gets into it, but we need to deny ourselves and to keep putting God first in everything. So that's what I have to say.
Man. Ooh, that was a lot to unpack.
I would say don't listen to the haters in church. There's a lot of haters in church. I don't know. I haven't been getting hated. I don't get it. I don't think I've been getting hated a lot in church. I guess. But I know that there's other cultures, other churches that
Mm.
people,
It
it's
does
toxic, right?
exist.
Like,
Hmm.
it's toxic, and people like to talk about people, and all people will talk, but I guess you wouldn't have to have a tough skin, as PKs.
Mm.
You interact with a lot of people. A lot of people have different opinions. A lot of people have different perspectives in the church, so you have to be prepared to, you know, listen to all those different opinions and don't let it seep into your soul and affect who you are.
Mm.
So that's the first thing, I guess. Having tough skin. Another thing I would say is, let's say, there's a lot of people that have a negative interpretation and a negative
Perception. Yeah.
perception and negative experience with church because of
Mm.
how people treated them.
Church hurt.
Church hurt.
Mm.
A lot of people are wounded in the church, and that's what pushes away people from their faith.
Sure.
A lot of normal, like people, just regular, just believers in Christ, get pushed away because they're judged. They
Mm.
get spoken about. And no one likes to be spoken about and being
That's
judged.
true.
The Bible says, "Judge and judge righteously." There's a way to go about it. You can't just be
Mhm.
cutthroat. Be like, you did this, and this. No one likes to be like spoken
Mhm.
that way, right? We're humans. We like to be spoken in a way that that we can receive,
That's
and
right.
different people receive differently,
Mhm.
right? So I would say that don't let other people, hate on you, and don't give into that type of hate because it could affect your relationship with
Okay.
God. I
That's
know
true.
someone that his parents are very involved in church, but he didn't have a good church experience, and he slipped away from that,
Mm.
and it just became like a spiral down. I
Oh
guess with
man.
like being on social media too, and then siding with those that had similar experiences with him, so it like
Mm.
strengthened and then like amplified that type
Reinforce
of
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that those types of feelings, and then it just you know you don't go to church 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you develop hatred
Mm.
for those people, and then you have an opinion, and then it goes in, it's
And
a
it's
bad
poison as well.
poison,
Yeah.
yeah. And we have to be wary of that as pastors' kids because that can
Mm.
happen to. That's one example, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of pastors' kids that go through that or are thinking
True.
about going that way and are on that path. So to encourage you is not to not to give in, but
Mm.
also that is also a attack from the enemy too. You have to be
Mm.
aware. We have to be, you know,
Very
we
mindful of
have to
these
have the
things.
wisdom,
Yeah.
knowledge, and understanding that these
Mm.
are things from the devil. He will try to knock us off path, make us backtrack, but we have to look forward because we have a calling as
That's right.
pastors.
Awesome. Who's next to pick the number? Pick the number.
We all pick, right? It comes back
I
to
don't
me or no?
think. Joel, did you pick a number?
No, it comes back to me, right?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
pick
okay.
first.
Okay.
Johnny picks second. No, Joel took. Yeah, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. But then I have to answer, right? Or
Yes,
no?
sir.
You speak twice. We did one, we did four, and then what? We did what?
Five.
Five.
We did 1, 2, 5.
Yeah. Yes, we did number one. We did number four. We did number five.
I guess number two. Okay.
He just wanted to go with the number two. That's his
Yeah,
number.
how was the experience that we had? What impacted me positively or negatively? Okay, I would say that it impacted me positively in my experience growing up. Like just going to church,
Mhm.
just going to church, going to church, only because we need to be there, right? They follow the Bible. What was the verse that you grow up a child in the way of the Lord and those
Yeah.
wouldn't depart
Do
from
not
it?
depart from it.
Yeah,
Yes.
something along those lines. Yeah, so that's I'm a living example of that, right? Because I
Mm.
didn't really depart. I'm still in church. I'm still active. So that's a positive experience that I've had. I don't think there's anything negative. I guess going to church from an early age um, resulted in me wanting to go to church for the rest of my life.
Really?
Mm.
hmm
Some people usually have a negative experience towards that.
Yeah.
I guess
You
it's how
know?
you receive it.
Okay.
It's how you receive it.
So
Makes sense.
your
Going to
parents
church, going to church.
raising you in
Yeah,
that way
I
set
know
you
that
up
they
to.
know the best interest for me. Going to
Mm.
church is probably good. So go to church. Go to church. Don't miss church for stupid reasons and
Mm.
for selfish reasons.
Mm.
Go to church because you love God, go to church because you
Mm,
have a relationship with God, go to church for comfort, for love,
mm.
for a community, for those types of reasons. I don't think there's anything negative
Mm.
that comes to mind, at least.
It
That's
depends on
that's
how they
yeah,
present. The
and
parents
that's
present
for
that.
a lot of us pastors' kids. Initially, it was something mechanical for us. We just did it, because it was the right thing to do because we saw our parents did it, do it.
Mm,
But eventually, we grow into developing. We surrendered to God and had a relationship with God. So we
mm,
moved from being mechanical to more of an
I think
mm,
I
intentional worship to God. You
I
know.
feel like mine was different. Like growing up, having mom and dad, asking me to go to church. I felt at some point I felt very resentful. It's like, why do I have to
Mm,
keep, doing this thing? And then I would usually go to school, come back, do
mm,
chores, and then show up in church, do the
mm,
same thing over and over again. Over time, it becomes very frustrating.
yeah.
And I started resenting mom because of that. Like, why? Every other person, I don't see them. I don't. I don't see every other person in church, but why do I have to show up in church
Yeah.
every day? I felt like it was literally choking me because I didn't have space. You
Mm,
have all these chores, other responsibility, but yet you do have to show up in church because guess what? You're a pastor's child. And everybody's looking up to you and everybody has so much expectation on you. Yes, you have to show up. You have no
mm,
excuses. Under no circumstances should you stay at home. You have to show up in church, you know? And like I said, most times it depends on how your parents present that to you. I've had people in the past who told me that they grew up in a Christian family where church was like literally forced down their throat, and then over time they start resenting going to church and they rebel, which is
mm,
why you see them end up in you know the habit of substance use, the lifestyle of substance use. Is
mm,
not what they woke up one morning and decide that, hey, I'm going to be going through this path.
yeah.
It's all these things that build up over time and result to resentment. So yeah.
and that's what we had talked about the other time that over time, when you surrender your life to Christ, like you learn something from that experience because
Absolutely.
it teaches you to have that unconditional love for God, whether you feel like it or not. And that's commitment, and that's something that is imbibed in us, like when we grow older into adulthood and the relationship we choose, like we learn commitment from working from God. We've seen that example with our parents, like whether there's a crowd or no crowd, they're still doing what they need to do, and whether they feel like it, whether they feel sick or not, they're still doing what they need to do for God. So it's something that you learn over time. That's amazing.